on the right one. We started out with boot camp again.
We were gonna talk stabilizer, just to throw you guys off guard today, but we fixed it.
Yeah, we were busy.
But our names are in the right spot. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
It's
we have microphones on. Wow, my hair.
And I know. I looked in there. I was like,
really...
what happened? So we both curled our hair before we left the house this morning. Mine kind of frizzed out.
Mm-hmm. Mine is.
You've got a little wave going on.
But not on the end, which is, I don't know, whatever, right?
Yeah. I haven't had a haircut since right before the wedding. And I think my ends are very due, but that's okay. Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Hi. Well, we're here.
So welcome to Wednesday.
I don't know how it's Wednesday at 3:30. It literally.
It's because it's a holiday week.
Right. It's been a crazy couple of days.
It has. It's been wonderfully busy here. So
no complaints.
No complaints about being busy, but we haven't gotten a dang thing done.
Right.
It's definitely been. Oh, I'm gonna put this on my jacket.
We looked and it was like 3:20. We were like, we
need to be over there.
Yeah, I'm glad you gathered the goodies earlier.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Because otherwise we would have been like walking around the store and doing a tour.
It would have been a live walk. So, did you say something about this being sewing month?
It is. September is National Sewing Month. And I heard that President Ronald Reagan declared September National Sewing Month. Isn't that
really
funny? Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Little tidbit of the day. So we've got some of our favorite things that make our sewing life easier. So we thought we would share some of our favorites with you. Please feel free to pop any questions up there if you guys have some. Like even of, hey, what do you think of this? And we'll either say, oh, I've never used that.
Yeah, post your favorites.
Or post your favorites, and we can talk about some of those too. We kind of wandered around the store and grabbed stuff, or she told me what to grab, and we don't always have everything in stock. So I'm sure there's some things out there that we both love that I just didn't happen to see as I was walking by it either.
Right.
So
we'll talk about some of our favorite things, and
we'll go from there.
Yeah. So National Sewing Month could be anything. It could be sewing clothes.
Yep.
It could be quilting. It could be embroidering. I mean, it's
could
still
home
using
your
sewing machine.
So many things, and it could just be repairs and hemming or whatnot on ready-made clothes. You don't have to make them from scratch, but maybe you're 5'4" and you need sizes or 4'11" and you have to hack off miscellaneous things there.
Instead of just walking on it.
Instead of walking on it, it's a good thing to know how to do those things. So this month, today we're going to do tools and tips and tricks and that kind of thing. Next week
we're going to talk about the new applaud. We should have it here.
We are. So we can even talk a little bit while we have that out about hemming on that. So, but the next week is going to be the main hemming thing, but we can talk about that a little bit while we're there.
And then the last Wednesday of the month, we're going to talk about the patterns that we are currently obsessed with. And boy, are we sort of obsessed with some things. So,
we go through phases just like everybody else. And, we're really into this right now, or we're really into that or whatnot. So we had the opportunity to sit down with one of our vendors this morning. And so we've recently, a couple hours ago, bought some new fabrics and things that we're going to kit. And some of them, we've got some new books, fabric books for children coming.
Those are so much fun.
Those look really nice. It'll be nice to have a fresh vibe on those. So we've got some of those coming. We've got some panel things. We actually did find a nice child print that is gender neutral, so it could be literally anything.
So cute.
There's
a lot of the stuff that we buy today will not be here until
so don't come next week and say, hey,
February,
where's that new fabric?
and April of next year. And we collectively decided that we are going to do the shop hop next year.
We did.
We had a ton of people ask us about the Michigan.
We got a lot of phone calls. We really wanted to do it this year, but with the change of ownership and changing so many things, it was just too much for us to take on.
So we are going to officially
signing up for the 2025, which we looked up, and that is the months of June and July for Michigan. Ohio and Indiana are also doing theirs,
Yes.
but it's not the same time frame as ours. So we will have the specialty items from that, and we'll of course have maybe
Fun.
some things we don't normally have
Right.
during the summer months, which will be a lot of fun. So it's a fairly new program.
This will be year number 2.
So, there's, I don't know if they're growing pains per se, but it'll be our first piece there
Well,
too.
hi, Miss
So
Louisa.
hello, and hi, Deb. I don't think we specifically said hello to you. So is there anywhere you want to start?
No, I think one of the good things if you're watching, a lot of times you guys don't say much, but type in something like that is your favorite.
Yeah, let
tip,
us know what your favorite tool is.
Type in what is your what you could use a tip on.
Yeah.
My nemesis is
zippers
or buttonholes
whatever it happens
or
to
whatever, and we'll tell you
what
we do, and
or if we just don't do that,
or if we're like, yeah, we're right there with you.
Yeah,
let us know.
don't do that. No, I'm just kidding.
So,
but yeah, you gotta tell us so that we can include you, and so you gotta let us know, and then we'll bring those items and whatnot into the conversation.
Yeah.
So, let's start
With
no matter what you're making,
you have to cut
the fabric to make it, whether
Yes.
it's actual regular scissors and you're cutting around an actual pattern like tissue paper pattern for clothing or something like that, or whether you're doing applique, whether you're doing quilting, your cutting matters. So we've got a couple tools here that are our favorites.
Yes.
This isn't necessarily you have to have this particular one, but getting a good one and having it be the right size for your project. So
Yes.
what sizes are available?
28.
45 and
60.
60 are the I think there's a little tiny one, but you don't really need that one. So those are the 3. The most common is the 45, which we have here. I gotta be honest, I love my 60. I am always picking up my 60, even when I don't need my 60. I love the way it feels in my hand.
And so, is it the feel in your hand, or is it the feel when you cut?
A little bit of both, probably more so the cut.
Yeah.
It's like butter.
Right.
I just absolutely love.
You did not try the Femore one today.
No, I didn't get up.
But
I was being lazy.
bet that if you tried that, you would be like, oh my God, it's not the 60. It is the roll. Our rep was in this morning, and I've seen the Femore rotary cutters online.
We ordered them, and those are available now. So those should be here soon.
And I read that there's a ball bearing in there, and I thought, it's one of the things that I love about this one is like the quick change blade. Like one little button and the blade pops off, and I can do it.
Yep.
But he had it here, and it was open, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the counter. Oh my
God! Can I go cut? He was like, why do you think I pulled it out of my bag?
And I wasn't just handing it to you to look at. It has a blade.
Just feel it. We're gonna pet that.
Yeah, we Tucker and Carolyn, we all used it. It really did. There was a significant.
They're nodding their head like, yeah.
There was a significant difference. Yeah, it went through 4 layers of fabric like
butter.
Like nothing. Like there was zero effort involved.
The resistance and the.
And I'm sure that was not a fantastic blade because
I'm sure he's had that many times all over the place for sure.
But
so we ordered.
Gonna need it in my
we ordered a nice smattering of them, and I think they're like 40, 50. Was it?
I think they're like $25.
Yeah, that's not even. They're less than 40.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think they're in the $25 range. They're less
somewhere
than 30.
in that range. Somewhere 25 to 30, anyways.
Right. But we'll have one at the shop here. And if you are in the neighborhood and you want to try it out,
you want to just cut.
You're gonna want to try that because I love my Olfa cutters. Yep. I absolutely love them. And I have never picked up another rotary cutter and thought, I
need this one.
Would use this other than that. So
that's been my experience. We have a nice, we're glad you're here too. I've had a nice selection to try here because we've had so many different ones,
versions.
opens and things. And I always go back to the Olfa because it's just the most comfortable in my hand. I like the way it cuts. Again, I do tend to like the 60 better than the 45, but I I'm excited to try that one. I didn't try.
Yeah, Marilyn was asking which rotary cutter are we describing. We're describing the
there
Famore.
is a new
Because we are obsessed with the I can't
Famore.
Those. We're obsessed with these scissors. These are the double curves. So same company that makes these great scissors, they now have a rotary cutter.
And, Famore is the scissors are kind of their thing. So rotary cutters right
up their alley.
Exactly. So absolutely very excited to see those. And they're a nice price point. It's not holy crap. So,
no, I mean, these are a little less expensive, but
it's also a very different.
It is completely different feel.
Yeah.
And like I said, less than $10 in the price difference.
Right. For sure.
Totally worth it.
So a good rotary cutter that you're comfortable using. So they make different ones for different reasons. You have to find the one that's right for you by all means. But please, give us a week or so.
Yeah.
But then come on in if you want to try, because we'll have one open here. So.
And we have a bunch at the counter. So if you are looking,
you can try different ones and see the difference between them.
Yeah.
For sure. So along with a good rotary cutter, what ruler that you're using that with is also very important. So I brought the same one open in a package so you guys can see. This is the Quilter Select. We've talked about these before. I'm so sorry.
Can I steal that like a piece of your fabric that you have right there?
What do you?
I was just gonna show this not moving on it.
I've got a little pieces here.
Oh yeah, she's got like a slightly bigger piece.
But the reason that these are different, gosh, I have so much stuff.
So here's this. It moves around on your table, but when we put this on top of this, like, look, the whole thing
moves. It doesn't slide on your fabric. So why does that matter?
So you can see, right? I'm distorting the fabric in this ruler with. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. It's literally got that nice grip on the back. Somebody said once, "Oh, that would be great if it was just white."
Right.
So here's the scoop and the skinny. This coating is what's yellow.
Yes.
So this will never be white. Sorry, just warning you out there. So these are yellow, and again, it doesn't move. Why does that matter? So most especially if you're a quilter, you already know the answer to this. But when you are cutting, if your ruler turns, you no longer have that straight cut. And if you don't have that grip, it will give you a not precise square, rectangle, triangle, whatever it happens to be that you're cutting. So here's a regular ruler that slides all over the place. And, we all try to hold our ruler properly, and then we push with our rotary. But even not actually cutting, I can very easily move the ruler. And it doesn't have to be a lot to really mess up your quilting project. And sometimes our quilting projects are also done in the hoop. So it doesn't mean you have to be a quilter and only a quilter for this to matter to you, because there's a lot of cutting. So when you're cutting a kit for an embroidery project, you want to make sure that you're getting the right pieces.
Exactly.
So our favorite rulers for that kind of cutting, because yes, there are times when you want your ruler to slide.
Yes.
You fought that a little bit when you first came here. You were like, yeah, no, that doesn't move, and I need it to move a little bit.
Exactly.
Because there's times that you do need that. But for that precision,
yes,
there's nothing better. This has literally made me a better quilter. I'm not perfect. I don't pretend that I am, guys. Not even close. But it is literally, I actually will quilt because I can have pieces that come out right.
It doesn't
matter.
The
first time I did a quilt, nobody told me how important that was.
Right. If
and
you don't
so
start out right.
things didn't match up. And,
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, this sucks. This isn't fun.
No.
And I didn't do it again for years. And there was actually, what was it? That home something.
Yeah. The
and it
Kimberbell.
had a star in it. And way back, they didn't piece that in the hoop. You
No.
actually had to quilt that. And I was like, oh my God, I have to make this. And I was literally sick about it. I was like, I'm going to ruin it. It's not going to be what I want. But I had gotten these night and day difference.
It really is.
All my points matched. It looked so good. I was very impressed with myself. Can you tell?
I mean,
So the right
makes
tool
such a
can
big
make or
difference.
break what you are doing. So the accuracy that you can get with this is just,
Right.
and these come in all different sizes.
Right.
So this one happens to be the 6 by 12, but there is, 8.5 by 24, 6.5 by
This one,
24.
yeah. They didn't, when they first came out, lots of them were even numbers.
They weren't halves.
Our darn internet is
I see that it's
fluctuating in and
weak.
out.
It's weak.
They didn't used to have like the half numbers, but
Right.
the Creative Grid company, those are the most common ones that we kind of see everywhere. They've kind of taken over the world. Theirs are
It went away.
half. So
again, as a quilter, you understand what that half does is it gives you a finished 6-inch if you have cut to a 6.5. So,
right. So that's kind of where we are with that. And the thing about it is when I first started cutting, I never really had trouble with being accurate, but part of the reason why I didn't is because I cut both with my left and my right hand. So it's really easy for me to trim the left side and then start cutting with my right hand.
Versus spinning everything around, realigning everything, and then...
Right, but my hands are not as great as they used to be, and the amount of pressure that you have to apply to a regular ruler in order to make that ruler not move really bothers my wrist after just a little while. And so when I tell people that these really can make a big difference, if you have trouble with your
wrist, your shoulder, your fingers.
Yeah, all of those things.
It can make a difference.
It really does make a big difference. So we have a couple questions. We have, do they offer free sharpening on their rotary blades? Honestly, it's brand new to us, so we don't know the answer to that, but they do free sharpening on their scissors if you pay for shipping.
They do.
I don't know that rotary blades would be the same.
I would just swap the blade.
Yeah, because they sell packages of blades, so, I mean, it's possible you could maybe ship a whole package to them and they would resharpen them, but we don't know the answer to that. But they definitely resharpen their
They do their scissors. And I hear they've got a really good guy working there now.
Yes.
So.
And Marilyn loves her tiny duckbills. I have the rotary cutter, but have not used it much yet. I will try it. You will love it. You will absolutely love it. Like I said, the bearing in that,
it just smooth.
It really is like, it's like butter. It really did. It just rolled with no effort whatsoever. And then, how do they feel compared to the Quilter Select? They're definitely not as heavy. But if a lot of people like the heaviness of the Quilter Select ruler or rotary cutters because they have to apply less pressure in order to cut, I feel like with this bearing in there, you also are going to have to apply less pressure.
Yep, that makes sense.
Carolyn is a big fan of her Quilter Select one, and even she used it and she thought it looked really, really well. So we've got that.
And I just want to say, I do read that Louisa's favorite accessory is her brother machines. Yes. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
It's going to be an expensive show. I love it. Well, we're just telling you what we like, so.
Do you sell the Quilter Select cutting mats? If so, what sizes? I like the light. Yes, we do.
Yeah,
You've
got like a dark green and a gray side, so depending upon, you can adjust that based on your fabric color, so you can see a little bit better and see where the lines are at and whatnot. We do carry them. We don't carry all of them on a regular basis, but hopefully some of them weren't available for a long time, and then we kind of got out of the habit of ordering them because they were all out of stock.
Yeah, but I can send you
But the 18 by 24, a 24 by 36, and then they do have the...
there's a big one.
There's a big one. Trying to think.
There is a larger one, like 60.
It's huge. But honestly, for your home, the 24 by 36, it's a really nice size, and it's at home, it's almost all I've ever needed. I mean, obviously we use more here, but for the most part, that large 24 by 36, and I know it used to be around like $80 or something like that for the big one. I don't remember. Like I said, it's been a long time.
Yep. But we do have them. I think we actually have I think we have something in stock, but we can email you with the information a little bit after this or tomorrow morning. I'll leave myself a note.
So, hello to you guys just joining us. So do you want me to make a pile over here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to just throw these up so you can see that. These are my #1 favorite scissor. It's got that curve there. So these are the 6-inch double curve. The tip is nice. I actually prefer these over my duckbills. I find that I can get everywhere that I need to go, and I get a very, very good cut.
Yes.
I have sent these in because they're curved. A lot of places won't sharpen curves. So I have sent these back. Like I said, they do have a new guy sharpening, which I hear he's really, really good. By the time I paid shipping there and back, and I had to wait, which I'm not a good waiter, so I never waited tables. I honestly, I know it's terrible, but I usually end up buying another pair because I'm too impatient to wait for it. And the last time I sent them in, I didn't have a great experience. But like I said, they have a new guy there, so don't take that into account. My second favorite are these tiny little micro tip guys. There's a beautiful focus. Good job, camera. You get a thumbs up. These are large rings, so your fingers actually fit in there. And the tip is so tiny, you can get in just about anywhere. And they're super sharp, which means when you're trying to snip.
My phone is trying to
It's recording everything I'm saying?
It is. It's trying to send that message to Tucker.
So,
what the
sometimes you need to snip into a corner to turn it, or just a little piece, and you're not trying to remove fabric, you're snipping. Snipping can be really hard if your scissors aren't that sharp. These are, which these do a better job even than these do for that. So I absolutely love them. Fomore does scissors. That's what they do. They are a tool maker. So those are hands down my favorite. I have bought other ones that look just like that. They do not work as well.
I do not know this as a 100% fact, but I believe that both Kimberbell, OESD, and Floriani are all getting their scissors for their kits from Fomore.
I would agree with that.
Because I have used off-brand scissors that are not good, and they are all pretty much the same. So I believe that they're all getting them from the same place. The difference is that a lot of the kits that you get, they have 4-inch double curve scissors instead of the 6-inch double curve.
And
it's
a big difference. We have some 4-inch over there, so sometimes you need the smaller ones to get wherever you need to go. Honestly, I generally will switch to my micros when that's the case.
Yeah.
I personally, and I have pretty small hands, guys. I'm not comfortable using those 4-inch. They're just too small for me.
Yeah.
I love the 6. It cuts a good amount of fabric, and I get a good cut, and it's comfortable in my hand.
And we have a pair over there. The thing that I see people do all the time is they don't hold their scissors correctly.
Do we really?
Which seems like it would be a
keep losing scissors.
Really strange fundamental. You have
for crying out loud! Here's my microchips.
Yeah. Maybe they took them. Hey, Tucker.
Yeah, they probably did.
They're right here on the table. She was probably trimming. Never mind.
So, for crying out loud. Gotta love my kids. Hi, Sam, in case you're watching. So here is that micro tip. I don't know if it's gonna focus on me or not, but this is an actual pair outside of the box. You can see even a little blurry. Come on. Maybe not. You can see how tiny that tip is, and it just really gets right up there. This is an open pack of this is 6-inch double curves. You can see that it's just an easy handle, and you get a good amount of space. The 4 is literally, the whole scissor is only this big, so they're just tinier.
And I see a lot of people hold their scissor like this, and I think that's the
part of the problem. If you've ever had your fabric kind of just push and not actually cut, it just kind of folds around the blade. turn it so that if this is your fabric that you're cutting, you want your, go ahead, I know you won't cut me.
Yeah.
You want your scissor literally this is how you're cutting. Maybe just a hair of a turn,
Right.
but you don't want it
like
sideways. It's not like this pair of scissors
Right.
that are, they're very different. These you want to cut flat. You're going to get a closer cut, and it won't push the fabric.
And I'm not putting this finger and this finger in there and cutting. I actually
first and third
or
fourth.
fourth. Yeah.
Yep.
So because one finger can go on top here, so that when I'm trimming, I have a lot more control over what's going on. When you use these two fingers, your hand is kind of smushed in there, and it will not work well. So definitely spread those out and go around there. You'll get less hand fatigue.
Yeah.
And you'll have a lot more control over your scissors. It seems like a really simple thing, but a lot of times we just don't hold. I don't know. Is that how they taught us in school with those scissors?
Well, you know, with these, we always. There's a whole, you know, there's a larger grip in standard scissors, and you hold them upright. But when you're trying to cut fabric just does this.
Yeah, it does.
It just will fold. So these, and the little tiny version of these, if I'm not looking for a curved, these are my absolute. These are so fantastic. The bottom line when it comes to scissors is it matters, guys. There is definitely a good, a bad, and an ugly when it comes to scissors. So
and the
if
older
you're
we
not
get,
getting,
the more our hands have been
and
through.
we need the comfort grips, and we need the larger grip space and those kinds of things. If you're not getting the cutting results, it very well may be because of your choice in scissors. So for sure, look at that. Put it on your Christmas list or something. So it's a great little stocking stuffer. You can, I guarantee your kids or whatever,
they're looking for
something to buy you. And it's very affordable, so that's a fantastic little thing that somebody could pick up for you.
Exactly, and will make a big difference.
And I read somewhere there's like only 17 weeks till Christmas. I know. It was somebody had the nerve to post that on Facebook, and I was like, why would you tell me these things?
Now we're
what
in
are you
panic
doing?
mode,
Now
right?
I'm panicking. Exactly. So, is that included?
In the Kimberbell, I think
so.
The 4-inch.
The 4-inch are. I'd have to look it up actually.
Well, and they're coming out with a new kit.
They are because they're revamping it, but I think there's a regular straight, smaller version, but a regular straight pair of scissors. What we had, the mini duckbill, and the a 4-inch
double curve.
And is there tweezers?
There's tweezers in there,
and something else, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't.
I think they're all 4-inch.
The micro tip ones I have definitely seen in Fumori kits.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've seen these particular ones in anybody else's.
Right.
And there is Fumori kit available, but again, the 6-inch isn't in those kits.
Right. They have 3 new scissor kits coming out that are super cute. They've been delayed a little bit.
They keep delaying, and they're of course very pretty because
there's like a pastel.
There's
one
a pastel one where
one.
the handles are all light blue, and they definitely know what they're doing.
They got us.
They know, like I need no more scissors. I have so many, but I'm going to buy that because they're pretty. There you go. All right. So we've been kind of talking about scissors. These kind of go along with that. This kind of goes along with that.
A good pair of tweezers.
So I have never found where those tweezers are bad.
No, mine have never gone bad.
But I mean that, I need a different kind of tip. I have never. So these are precision tip. They have a very, very small point, and there's an angle on them. So they get into the tiniest little places. You can pick up a single strand of thread to snip it if you've got a little tail that you can't quite get your scissors there.
Or gosh forbid you're still on a machine that doesn't cut the jump stitches between the letters.
To hold those jump
Or
stitches.
they're
It's
too
a
tiny.
great way to do that. But I mean, if you are using a serger, I can, well, maybe not with the contact that I have currently, but I can thread the needle in general faster with a set of tweezers than I can going through the air threading and all of. These tweezers are so precise.
Yep.
They are just phenomenal.
Yep.
And they're $10.99.
Right, so you can't beat that.
You cannot beat it. It's like $10, and it's gold. It's liquid gold right here.
It's liquid gold. Yeah, I mean, God forbid, like we were talking to somebody today whose needle threader died. And she was like, I'm
She's
doing a
like-
35 color change embroidery design.
And my threader's not working.
I didn't say, I hope you have a good pair of tweezers, but in my mind, that's exactly what I was thinking.
It might have
because
popped through both of our minds.
probably the only way I would get through a design without my needle
Maybe
threader.
we should gift her those when she comes.
I should, just in case.
Sorry. Do you have these? Maybe you need these for future reference.
And then, gosh forbid, you need to get out your Jack Ripper here. So your seam ripper. That's what I call him, Jack the Ripper.
I don't think you've ever said that out loud to me before.
Oh, yeah. So, and honestly, so this is going to sound really, really crazy. This is not the actual seam ripper that I use.
No, I actually do use that one.
But I use this because it has the tip. So
The
I
tip.
just leave the tip. I actually glued my tip down so that it wouldn't come off. Because it kept coming off because it was supposed to come off.
So, you know,
I glued it.
with a seam ripper, there's different size tips.
Yes.
And sometimes one is too big for whatever it is that, you know.
Yes.
This one is not tiny tipped.
No.
So sometimes the tip on this is too large for whatever it is that you're trying to rip out.
Mm-hmm.
But the rubber tip on the end of that, you can literally flick away
Yeah.
the shredded threads that you're ripping.
Yes.
And get them out of your seam, and it works wonderfully. So that is why I grabbed that particular one.
Yeah.
But obviously, unfortunately, we all need a seam ripper in our lives.
Yes. I like a seam ripper that's a little skinnier in my hand, but I literally.
But the tip of that is an app. It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's part of the tool.
It's part of the tool, and
which
I
is a
literally glued the
fantastic
top
thing.
on so that it would always stay.
Yep. So we're still kind of in the stabby thing category.
Yes.
So you turned me on to this little guy.
It is fantastic. Isn't
I
it?
have had multiple stilettos in my sewing life, but there's nothing like this one.
No.
It's got such a fine tip on it that it really does just a great job, and I feel like I'm not stabbing a hole in, because I've actually done the tip was so big it actually created a hole in my fabric. This one it's great.
It's kind of like
So-
holding a small pencil in your hand. It's that fine.
You can use this in embroidery to like keep your fabric down if you don't want to, I don't want to put my hand in there. Well,
Right, which you
do.
shouldn't, but yes.
But I do.
Don't
but
do as we
this
say,
is
not
a
as we
great
do.
handhold
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
like
thing. You can use this in embroidery as well as in sewing too. So mostly I use this when I'm doing my binding to keep all of my edges right where they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
and then turning it over to the other side.
It really does. It holds
this
that
is like,
binding.
This is, again, liquid gold when you're doing
It
that.
is,
We have a
yep.
question over there.
Yep. I've never seen that seam ripper.
Oh, it's not a question.
No.
So we actually have small versions of this up front too, which are also nice, but this one
Yeah.
had a nice package
Yeah,
on it
if
to
you
show.
have-
So
If you have like a travel kit that you take sewing with you, a lot of the things that we're talking about are definitely things that are
that you want with you when you're going somewhere else.
Yeah, because you might have bigger versions of some of these things at home that you use.
So
but
I
you
have
definitely
2 of these.
Yeah, that's
I
all.
have 2 of these. I have about 12 of these.
right.
Because I can never find the tweezer
I
when
know,
I need it. So
right.
I have to have one literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
And again, they're only $10, so who cares? It's,
Right.
it's only $120 in tweezers.
That's
I mean,
right.
it's all good. But seriously, having more than one of any of these things, it's all well and good.
Oh, here, I can, I'll take this out of the package. She wanted to see the seam ripper up close.
Do you have a stiletto open, or did you just put it away back the last time?
I
feel
think-
like we put it back the
I
last
think
time.
because there's a piece of tape on the, this is the one that keeps falling out the bottom, so I think this is the one that I keep opening.
Okay.
So here is, so this is what it looks like in the package. And then it opens up and goes like this. So it's
Like a
brass.
cap of a pen.
Yep. And it is super fine here.
There you go.
So it's nice and stabby, but
Yes.
not so stabby that it will kill your stuff. It's kind of
But it has a good enough grip that you can shift the fabric underneath the needle to realign your edges
Yes.
when you're quilting or binding or whatever.
Yep.
It really does a great job.
So these are fantastic. And then the seam ripper, the other seam ripper, that is the stiletto, not the seam ripper,
I don't know if I have
is
a
this
little
one.
open.
So let's get it in the camera. There we go.
There's-
So it's got this rubber tip, and it's not like anything rubbery that I've ever used
There's not one over
before. And then this is what the seam ripper looks like when it is open. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So it's fine, not super big.
It's not super big.
And,
I have definitely had one that's bigger than that.
the reason that I ended up just gluing mine down is because
it doesn't
fit in the back, so it would always just roll someplace. So because I actually have there's a brass stiletto or a seam ripper.
There's a seam ripper that's like this, but it's a seam ripper instead of the stiletto inside. Yep.
That I really like, and so that's.
And this seam ripper is very fine.
Yes, it is.
It's very
fine.
very thin. So when you have tight, 1.5, 2 stitch length stitches, having a smaller one is definitely helpful.
Got to change the stitch length to 2.5 and it's
like,
at 2 millimeters, and you realize that you just sewed 2 pieces wrong. That never happens to anyone else but me,
No,
right?
of course not. I'm sure they have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, you know what? Tula Pink also makes one. If you like this, they make a stiletto. It's a safety stiletto that kind of screws together.
Yep.
It's
the tip
a
is
little
not as
bit
fine.
bigger, right?
And it's more cone shaped.
Yes.
So it gets wider where it meets the base. I think that's the first one that I had.
Right.
And I got it as a Christmas gift in my stocking. But yeah, it's certainly.
Sure. So the seam ripper is $14.95. The stiletto is $14.95 because my seam ripper looks like this. That's why I always say that. And then this guy, which has that rubber tip, this is $8.50. The Tula Pink, those are $10.99. And the scissors.
The scissors, if you're looking at the Karen K. Buckley's, which are the little bit larger grip, just kind of more of a straight. This one's serrated, right? Yeah, this one. Are they both? I can't read that one. I don't see that.
That says serrated knife edge, yes.
Okay. The tiny ones are $23.95, and these are $33.50. So you can see the different sizes there. They have a really nice comfort grip, and they do both sets. They come with a tip cover, which you think the first thing you want to do is just chuck that. Don't, because they're super sharp. Even when they're close,
yeah, you can definitely
you can hurt you. If you reach in your bag to pull them out, they're very sharp. So keep the little plastic cover on there. You'll be glad you did. And just to backtrack, the micro tips are $18 and the 6-inch double curve are $20. So. Okay, so that's everything that we had up to this point.
Marilyn asked, are there Tula snips? There definitely are Tula snips, and
I didn't bring any of those over. A lot of times will end up using my micros or my 6-inch as my snips.
Yep.
But depending upon what you're working on, you for sure could need snips. And
and they're
the Tula
really
Pink
good.
are very good.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Famori makes a couple different types as well. So snips are definitely a great tool to have.
Yep.
I find I use those more in embroidery, which was the other reason I didn't grab them, is
Right.
because we were
We don't
trying
use
to
them as
talk
much
sewing
sewing.
month.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the snips are phenomenal for sure. I have seen people use their snips to cut their fabric. I do not recommend that. You're going to dull out those, and then it won't
And
cut
honestly, that's all I ever used before I met you.
Really?
We did not. We always used those. I think I don't know if it's a Bernina thing, but a lot of the applique people.
Because they're tiny and you can get into small spots.
So that trim in place was never my favorite method of doing applique, probably because of the tool that I was using. But I would, I think like Lunchbox Quilts, the Angie, she would just take her snips and she would just be like going all the way around. And I was like, I get 3 snips in and then it's like dull.
Right, that's what, it will dull your scissor because it's like cutting paper with your really good scissors.
Yeah, and then it wouldn't cut my threads.
And then it doesn't cut your threads. It kind of shreds them and they start folding around the scissor tip instead. So I do recommend your snips are your snips for thread, and that's all that they are.
Yes.
So pinking shears. We actually have a really nice pair. I didn't bring them over here.
Yeah.
We have a really nice pair here.
It's a new brand, and we're
I definitely have had really bad that I don't like pinking shears. The kind that you feel like you need to oil 12 million pounds of oil in there, but of course you can't. It doesn't do you any good even if you've tried. They just stick, and it's the type of the scissor in a lot of ways. But the ones that we have here, I can look it up, I guess.
I sent Tucker a message to see if she could bring them over. I thought it came out pinkling, but it is pinking.
It does actually say that. Aww. My son just said he loves me.
Aw. Thank you for being the gopher. That's all right.
No, all good.
I
Thank you,
literally
thank you.
just sent it. So can we see the box? Thank you. So these are
LDRs?
LDH.
That's so close.
And they have a really
They have
nice,
a good tension to them.
Yes.
But they aren't like,
Oh my
God, I
gosh.
can't use this. So you obviously you need some tension on there. They're not gonna. It's again, your fabric's just gonna fold in there, and
Right.
you're not gonna get what you want. But these are really nice, and aren't they? What, Canada?
Yeah, they're designed with love in Toronto, Canada,
Okay.
and mindfully crafted in Hong Kong. But yeah, they're really nice, and they come with a really nice case if you want to keep
There's
them
a
in
little
there.
box that you can store them
And
in.
how much are these?
That's what I was looking.
I think it's on the bottom of that. These are 50.
50.
Yep. And I know that this particular brand has a couple different sizes.
They have. We just had to start somewhere, so.
Yep.
I don't know. We started with like 3 pair of those or something, and this is the last one that we have, I think.
Yep.
We definitely don't get asked about these a ton because most of our sewists are more quilter related
Yes.
than clothing related.
Right.
But we do certainly have.
Or they already have a baby lock serger and they're not pinking
They're
their
not
edges.
pinking. They're serging their edges.
But sometimes
so.
you do need that, and those
sure.
are really, really nice. I've tried the rotary cutter versions. They're not great.
They're not the
They're
same.
kind of hard to use. They don't. You got to really apply a lot of
you
pressure.
do.
They're not super sharp.
And you know we do use pinking in like even in embroidery projects or even a sewing project that you have like a felt or something like that, and you pink the edge to give it a nice finished look instead of just the straight edge. So it's not just for edging your fabric from that, but there you go. Great question, Dean.
Yes.
So no matter whether we're sewing, whether we turn a lot of things.
Yeah.
And when we are turning, we generally have a corner that just doesn't want to go where you want it to go. So a turning tool is a super important tool. For a long time.
A lot of different types out there.
There really are. So this is the one that we have had here the most often. It has one tip. It's got flat edges on the pencil shaft kind of thing. So what that means is when you set it down, it doesn't roll off your table, which is a really nice feature. This one has that kind of same thing, and it has a dual tip. I'm really used to this one, so this is still my favorite and my go-to, but I do like having the alternate size tips.
Yep.
Sometimes it's necessary. If you have too small of a tip, you can blow through your corner.
You can.
And cause more problems than you're helping.
Yep.
If you're not really careful. Of course, you're not supposed to stab your corners, in case anybody didn't know that.
Right.
Turning tools, literally, you rotate and push into the corner to turn the fabric versus poking them.
And they kind of have like a ball tip to the top, so
yeah,
that
I
you
don't
can.
know if.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
So you can see that little tip there. The
So this one is
OESD one has 2 different size,
There's a lot
and
of
the
glare.
ball is a little bit more prominent, especially
Yeah.
on the one that is on your side there.
Yep.
Over on that side.
Yep.
That one's a much more prominent. So again, the OESD version has 2 different tips. They both have a center that keeps it from rolling off your table. Sounds like silly. Who cares? But
Right.
trust me, when you're
is
chasing
nice.
it,
Yep.
it's nice to not have to. They are both the same price, $15.99. So it's literally just which one do you like? There's not. But you definitely, for a long time, the purple thing was like the only turning thing out there.
The only thing.
The only thing out there, and I never liked it.
Yep.
But it was what was there.
Right.
The only thing I like about that was the flat tip. So like when you're pressing or whatever, you could get your seam pushed out and like in front of the
Needle. Yeah.
the needle or your iron.
And your iron, yeah.
And have that pressed out. I did like that tip, but in general, I don't particularly care for the purple thing.
Yep.
So if you partook in our stabilizer, you got a couple things we're going to talk about. This is a fabric folding pen. So basically you put liquid starch in the pen and it comes with concentrated. So basically you put like 2 drops of this concentrated starch in there, fill the rest with water, and it lasts for a good amount of time. If you are doing any type of folded fabric, this is definitely something that you're going to probably want in your Tool caddy.
Also works really well if you're doing paper piecing.
Yes.
So you can kind of get the paper wet and then it peels off
nice
so
and
much
easy.
easier than trying to peel it and make sure. So it works for all kinds of different
And this kind of goes along with that. So this is a little different than the Violet Craft that we had for a long time. This one is completely flat from side to side. The Violet Craft has a little bit of an arc to it, just a little bit. So Sarah said she really liked this one a lot better. So we've switched over to this. Nothing wrong with Lori Holt except she put bees on everything. But what are you gonna do? So
the one thing like this, when in my sewing room, it's funny. Like Dave will come over and he'll be like, "Can I have the wallpaper roller?"
What?
The wallpaper roller.
Wallpaper roller.
Yeah. So what he sees and looks at it. And then he was using this to put the wallpaper up, and he's like, "Oh, this is really nice. It's flat." And I'm like, "I know, right? The wallpaper ones are rounded. Why?
Why is that a thing?" So sewing tools can be used for so many things.
They can.
You just never know.
No.
Just don't cut paper. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
So
Cindy got those in her stabilizer bag. They are fun, great tools.
They really are. To kind of go along with that, we also have these guys here, which, hey, there's my name, guys.
Yep.
This is my mini iron I've brought in from home because I've got another one. So we use this one here at the shop. This is just literally a nice solid surface there. This is great because, one, I don't put water in it, so it doesn't matter that there's any holes here. But it is actually a pretty good surface here that you don't have any cold spots in, which is really nice. This particular one has many adjustments, but there's different ones of these. I'm sure it will surprise you to hear that we sell these things here.
Shocker.
But you can use, and these come in all different sizes as well. This one was just easy to show on camera. And you can have just a small pressing station right at your machine versus having to get up, go across the room to your big iron and ironing board to press whatever it is open or flat or whatever it happens to be. So you can keep moving really quickly by putting this right by you and having a little pressing station literally right at your sewing machine.
I like to have a little of that, especially when I'm doing like little stuff. It's nice.
So I will say a lot of times I actually like the seam I get from this actually a little better, and it stays put.
Definitely in the hoop, right?
When I'm doing this in embroidery and in the hoop, it stays flat, where when I press it, it sometimes will just pop up a little bit. This doesn't do that. It stays right where you put it, which is, depending on what you're doing, can be very, very nice for it to not shift around a little bit. So pressing things, seams open, folded fabric, paper piecing, those kinds of things, great to have a little pressing station right next to you. The press pads come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. These run, what, like $10 and up or something like. I mean, the little one's like even less.
$5 or less.
This one's even less than $10. And again, when you're doing something like that, you don't need a big pad. So that is definitely a really inexpensive thing. I don't remember how much the irons are, 30 or less.
I think so.
30 or less. So definitely fun to have those little guys around. This, as long as we're over here, I can just leave that here. I knew these existed, but I never really used them until recently. They're really nice to have.
They are.
It's like, I just need that to not move. Just put a little dab of glue on there.
A little dab will do it.
A little dab will do ya. So this is literally a pen. So it's got a cap. It's got a twist base that you turn up, and the little piece of glue just gets taller and taller, but actually is getting shorter and shorter. And then you can just pick up refills for that. So you just pop a new one in there, and then boom, you've got a whole new piece of glue. I've used it fast enough. I've not had the glue go bad. And unfortunately, I don't get to sew every day. Sometimes there's weeks go by before I actually have had a chance to sew. So I'm not saying I'm using this every day. So it lasts, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
And if you struggle with your fabric pieces, like your seams, your intersections shifting on you, you can put just a little dab of that in that area when you kind of like marry those two pieces together, when you butt them up, and it really does make a difference. Yeah, you can even hit it with your iron just for a hot second there, and it will kind of dry really quickly, and then it will hold everything in place. And
versus having, crap, it shifted a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought I had everything where I needed it, and oh man.
sometimes it's hard to get the pin in correct, like it pulls or pushes.
And then you need that.
Then you need Jack Ripper.
Yep.
So you can
this
use
is
it for all
great.
kinds
You
of
can
different
use it in lots of different things with sewing. You can absolutely use it in embroidery to keep a piece of fabric from shifting as you're tacking it down, or any of those things. So it's very, very functional.
Yep.
And again, you only buy the pen once, and then you just buy the little refill piece.
Yeah.
They come in a pack of, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something. I don't remember, something like that. Very reasonable. We put this in our thing this year too, didn't we? I know we talked about it.
I don't remember.
Anyway,
That's sad.
glue pen. If you don't have one, you need one.
Yeah.
And they're a whole whopping $7.95.
Yes. So Connie said that she gets into the bad habit of forgetting to turn it off. I will tell you that I am not always great about turning things off, and my husband is constantly telling me, "Did you turn it off? Did you turn it off?" But you can actually get an outlet that has a timer on it, so you can have it so that it automatically shuts off. We actually have installed Wi-Fi outlets, so I can actually make the outlet that my iron is in. I can literally double check to make sure that it's off. I can also program it so that in the evening they're off. So you can do
wait,
lots
what
of
if I sew
things.
until 2 a.m.?
You can then turn it back on.
Just kidding.
But if you are, if you tend to forget stuff like that, you can definitely, they do have things out there that can help you remember to do that, because irons are one of those things that they do cause.
You definitely need to keep
Yes.
an eye on what's happening with your iron, for sure.
Yes, your iron, even little irons can, they
For
can
sure.
definitely wreak havoc on you.
Absolutely.
And not to be a harper, but even if it has an auto shut off, you probably should be unplugging that from your wall, just because you don't really know. So having been through a fire before, you don't want that.
You do not want that.
Wasn't because of my iron, but it's a hot mess. Literally.
It's not an uncommon fire starter.
It
for
is
sure.
not an
so,
uncommon fire
definitely
starter.
want to be
Yes. That is
conscious of those things.
We people saw the lightning at our house, but that was the first thing that the firefighters did. The inspector come through and they said, well, it could have been caused by these things. And I was like, no, it definitely was caused by the lightning strike.
Yep, it was that. It was definitely that. So I didn't know about these for
This was a
long
funny story.
time. We're just going to keep talking about these. So this particular set comes in a package of 2. I'm not going to lie, I almost never use this one.
Right.
I'm pretty much always using this
that
one.
one.
So when do you need this? If you are doing drawstring bags, if you're making pants that have a drawstring waist, anything like
Elastic.
that, putting a ribbon through something, it doesn't matter what it is, but if you're feeding something through a tube or a
casing.
tunnel, a casing of some sort, this is absolutely your friend. So how this works is you pull this little guy back right here. So I'm going to close it and I'm going to push that down, right? And so my tip is completely closed here. All right. When I open that, the tip pops open. So it's kind of like a little miniature, it's like Barbie tongs or something.
Barbie
like
tongs.
Barbie tongs, right? So if I have, we're going to just pretend this is a ribbon, not a piece of fabric.
definitely ribbon.
Because it's what I've got here. You put your clamp on your product and then you slide that down and it doesn't come off. So imagine feeding this with a nice rounded tip through your seams instead of the stupid safety pin that the fabric slides down into the little circle at the bottom and then you can't get it back out.
Yep.
Nobody's ever had that happen, right? I can tell you how,
I know,
oh
right?
man, so many
You're
times.
3/4 of the way through.
This is, I absolutely love, and I'm so sad when I can't find it. I'm
know.
like, I tear apart because it's tiny, so it's
Right.
easy to lose.
You gotta have like 12 of
You
these.
got to have 12 of them. You
They're
know.
only $5
They're
and
only
50
$5,
cents.
so this is half the price of having 12 pairs of scissors,
Right.
or tweezers, excuse me. So anyway, when you feed this in, and then it just comes the ribbon out, your casing, so easy, and then you just release it, and it doesn't. I have had a few things if it was really, really, but it doesn't really damage. I've had like ribbon that was already shredding.
Yeah.
I have had a little bit more shredding on the end, but it doesn't damage. It does a really nice job, and it's definitely easier to feed that little tip through seam folds to try to weave it into something than that safety pin.
Right.
That Have you ever had one pop open?
Yes.
Yep.
And it's darn near impossible to get out.
Uh-huh.
You might as well just take your casing
So
out.
this is definitely
Throw it away, start over.
a great little tool to have that can save you if you do anything with the casings and those kinds of things. Like I said, drawstring bags, big, small, doesn't matter. Casings for a pant, like even if you just need to refeed a string that came out in the wash.
Right.
So great to have that little thing there.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
the strings in your hoodies never go.
No, they
always stay exactly where you put them, right?
Yep, absolutely. So you can see we've got just piles of stuff here to show you guys. How are we doing? 3 minutes. We can do this in 3 minutes.
Right.
So I'm going to let Sarah talk about this one.
So if you are going to sew through anything more than 2 layers or 2 layers of something that is really thick or super thin, a walking foot can become your best friend. And not all walking feet are made
They're not all created
equally. No. If you have like a major brand, so Brother, Baby Lock, Pfaff, I'm sure Janome has their own version. Bernina, lots of them have what I would call an inexpensive walking foot, and then
they
a
have their good
fancy
one.
walking foot. And a fancy walking foot usually has a few things going for it. One, oftentimes it has adjustable or interchangeable feet. And the other one is that it will be a little bit heavier. It won't be, this is not going to be
plastic.
a walking foot that you buy for, $10 or $20. This is going to be an investment. It's probably going to cost you somewhere between $100 and $200 for a good solid walking foot, but it will last you a very, very long time, and it is definitely worth it. The other thing that is really cool about this, if you were comparing this foot to like our Move It foot that we have that we plug into the back of the machine, this foot, because it's a mechanical foot, it will actually go forward and backwards. So if there is a decorative stitch or a blanket stitch or something like that that you want to use that actually moves forward and backwards, this will work when you plug those.
Sometimes the Move It foot, the Move It foot will always make stitches that are not going to work with that foot inaccessible. So you flat out cannot even choose them.
Right.
So as far as the machine knows, when you put this on, it's just a regular foot. It doesn't know to discount any stitches. So it literally allows you to have that forward and backward movement. So you can do more decorative stitching, lots more options for sure. So the foot itself is this guy here. And it comes with the standard and the open toe.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
So you get 2 different soles and they snap onto the bottom there. And then this particular foot has a set that you can get 2 additional soles, and that has a stitch in the ditch and a 1/4 inch foot that you can use on that. So yes, great for quilters, but great for so many other things as well. So it definitely has a lot of options there. And that is one of your favorite feet, yes?
It is one of my very favorite feet. I use that a lot.
So one of the things that we definitely use are zippers.
Yeah.
Whether it be sewing, embroidery, it doesn't really matter. Zippers are definitely something.
Right.
And it's something a lot of us will avoid doing.
Yes.
Because it's a pain, right?
It can be a pain.
So when you are sewing in a zipper, I personally like to make my zipper minimum of 2. I prefer longer than whatever I actually need. So this is just a little tiny zipper, but it's great for the purpose of showing you what I'm talking, because I don't have a lot of room over here. So this foot is what I personally use to put zippers in. I love it. It is absolutely gotta have it in my house.
Yeah.
And the reason being is it has these, this is the 4 or 6 millimeters, so there's 2 different grooves. One is 4, one is 6. And basically what you're going to do is, I of course picked way too big of a zipper, but the idea is that the teeth ride right in that groove. So it literally just runs along there. Now, why does that matter? That is important because when I am stitching, let's go this one. All right, so I line my fabric edge right side down along the edge of my zipper tape, and I line up my groove. It has a full width of stitch hole, which means I can move my needle position.
Anywhere you
So
need it.
I decide where I want my needle position.
How close
so
you want it.
How close do I want that? So if I move it all the way over here and I stitch, what happens as it's going through the machine, I keep a 100% consistent distance from my zipper teeth because its teeth are set in that groove, which means it's not going to shift right or left. So then when I fold this back, I could fold it and do another stitch and give myself a top stitch on there if I want, or quite frankly, depending on how tight you're pulling that, it's a solid stitch and it doesn't matter. So it's totally a choice if you want to go back again.
Right.
And then now that it's attached, sew it again so you have a pretty little decorative stitch there. And then you would take your other piece on the opposite side and do the same thing. So I would then stitch over here, tack that down, and then that folds over here. What I generally do, so if this is my first one and it's all pretty and it's perfectly centered, and then I have this one and I've tacked this down on run number 1, what I generally do is leave a fold over top so that when I run it the next time, I'm actually making a hidden zipper. It looks absolutely stunning on the back, so I just literally run another one. So I have a second seam here, so I'm not, of course, sewing it closed. My seams are both over here, but then I have a little envelope so that a pillow back or something, you have a beautiful finished zipper. So that is what I do for zippers. So this is one of my favorite. I don't have a lot of feet because I don't do a lot of sewing.
Right.
This is, like I said, an absolute must-have. If you bought from us, you still get your discount on this. But even if you didn't, it's only $17.99. And let me tell you, the stress that this will save you out of trying to install a zipper, it is absolutely stunning. You want to talk about this stuff? Because you found it.
Yeah, so this is basting tape. So double-sided basting tape, and it's by Annie's. Annie's makes a lot of bags and things like that. So if you are struggling to keep your zipper and all of your stuff exactly where you need it to be, what you do is you basically just, you just rip off a piece of this. It's double-sided, so you just peel it off, cut the amount that you need, and you stick it to like the edge of the zipper. So wherever that is, this way. So you stick it to
Yep, so you're
the
gonna
edge.
pull it off the roll and stick it onto the tape.
Yes, and then you peel the top paper off, and now you have, the sticky is stuck to the zipper.
And so you can sew through this?
And then, and then you stick this down on top of it, and you can sew right through it.
And so there's even less to hold on to.
There is less to hold on.
Because it stays where you stuck it.
That's right.
I like things that stay where I stick them.
Yeah, and so I've been reading about people using this basting tape for a very, very long time, and I never really struggled with putting my zippers in, so I didn't really find, I was like, well, I mean, I'm not
Do I really need to do this?
A problem, so why try it? Well, I decided I was going to try it because even though I wasn't having a problem, maybe it could be better.
Maybe it would just be easier.
And I was like, why have I not been using this my entire life? It really does. I took it out of the...
Yeah, that doesn't go anywhere.
It does not.
It's like a Quilter Select ruler right there.
It really is. This is the zipper jig, because once you find out how fun it is to put zippers in, either with that foot or with the tape or with the combination of two, what you're going to do is you're going to go down the zipper tape rabbit hole, which means you're going to find zippers by the yard, and then you're going to have more zippers that you will ever use in your entire life.
So
and all of these
explain what zippers by the yard is, because there's probably somebody out there that doesn't actually know what that means.
It is literally zipper tape that comes in yards.
So I need a whole bunch of white or yellow or blue, and I just buy 3 yards worth of zipper.
Yes. And then you get...
Is there a head on that zipper?
No, not usually. Sometimes you buy it and they put all of the heads on for you, but a lot of times they send you the heads in a little bag, and then you get the zipper, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with that?
This is like the fork thing that you see on TV sometimes.
Yes. Everybody online is doing this with like a fork. And but the fork doesn't, I mean, it's okay.
It doesn't stay still though.
But you have to bend it, then you have to tape it, or you have to hold it under your arm.
You have to get it somewhere to stay.
Right, it's not.
This, as I said, it's
It stays.
It's got grip on the bottom. So you're going to put
You put the zipper head on first.
You put the zipper head in the center.
Yes.
And then you slide the zipper down.
Yes. And so what happens is the problem with putting zippers in the zipper tape is that you can only put one side in at a time.
Right, because you only have two hands. So you got one holding the zipper head and you got one side of the zipper tape.
Right, and so you put the one side on and then you go to put the other side on.
And then they're not even anymore.
They're not even. And then you're like, well, okay, that's fine.
How did I know that?
Right? But, it's super annoying. So this, you literally just put the zipper head and you can use either size. And you then just go down there. And what you can't see on here is that the forks are actually two different sizes, and there's a number on there, and it says number 3 and number 5 because those are the two
different
standard sizes. Yep. And so you just put it there, and you just go, whoop, and it goes right in. And
That's just crazy.
There are handy dandy instructions on the box for you that give you. It's a picture tutorial. You will be successful. And there are a million versions of this online that people are using and different versions. But this one is $16 and it's really, really great. And it's purple. So, that's a win.
That's a win right there.
Yep.
I don't like purple or anything.
I promise I will do a demo on the zipper thing.
Sure.
Yes.
So
maybe even next week.
So this is brand new to the store.
Yes.
It just came in. It is on Tucker's desk to get on our website. So I stole this off of her desk to show you guys. So it is not currently, but it will be very, very shortly.
Yes.
Do you remember how much they are?
Less
than 10?
Oh, way less than 10.
Way less than 10.
And there's 2 rolls in there. You can't see the other one.
Oh.
There's like a second
Oh, I
roll in
see
there.
it. Yeah,
Yep.
there are 2 rolls.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
so
phenomenal.
It'll
Yep.
last a long time.
Yeah, because you aren't going to be using a whole lot.
No. And I think it's like 20 yards worth of tape.
It says
there.
20 meters. Yep. 10 on each roll.
Yeah. So you got a lot there.
Zippers can be a challenge, but they don't have to be.
No.
So having some little cheater tools to help you, it's not actually cheating, it's just being smart. So we've got some different things there. So that is the stack that we gathered for today. So lots of things that we talked about. Hopefully we didn't overwhelm you too much. Everything, obviously, we sell here. So if there's something that you saw that you're like, wow, that's really cool. If there's something that you saw that you're like, yeah, that's right, that would be really nice to get in my stocking, just jot it down. We'll understand. So you can send them in with a list and we can help you out. So we can make your Christmas bright.
Yep.
And stabby.
Yeah, and stabby.
And stabby, because there's lots of stabby tools.
It's actually, it's not the same as the 1/4 inch Steam-A-Seam. The Steam-A-Seam is a permanent.
It's a fusible
adhesive that you can or cannot stitch through depending on which version you have.
Yes, some of it is not sewable.
It is not. Some of it is not sewable. Some of it is.
Some of it is, but you have to make sure that you're reading that.
But this is substantially thinner. So you will want, if you are using this for zippers, the advantage of using this one is that even though you can sew through it, it will not be in your seam. It will not be where you stitch through.
It's going to be on the other side of where you stitch.
Because
so you're not going to, it's very, very thin.
Yes.
It's only 1/8. So it's very thin. We use this, you had some in your bag.
Yep.
We use this to put the fusible stabilizer on because we didn't have a fuse.
Yep.
For putting in a magnetic snap.
Yep.
So
yeah, I carried it. I brought it.
You had it in your little bag of goodies.
My bag of goodies that I didn't have to bring.
This can obviously be used for other things as well. This is just the main thing that we have brought it in for.
Yeah.
So you definitely could use this to keep something folded or whatnot.
Yep.
But it is not a permanent fuse.
It is
just
not.
to clarify, it is just a little aid while you're sewing.
Yep.
So hopefully you enjoyed hearing our favorites. I didn't really see, I saw some questions, but I didn't see any other tools popping up on there. So hopefully we didn't miss any comments. But we appreciate you hanging out with us today. Next week, we're going to talk about the Applaud. Yay! They are supposed to be here, I think, by Friday. So
Any day now.
Any day now, we'll have something here to play with. So if you were waiting for one to arrive, it is scheduled for delivery on Friday. So we should have one on the floor by Saturday in theory, if you wanted to check that out. And we will show how to do the different things and have some fun with that next week, so you can actually see it in action rather than just a boring video that watches the needle do this.
Right.
So.
Right. Or some random people running in a field.
Yeah.
With a
I
jacket.
mean, we could run.
We could run in a field with our jackets.
We could run on the railroad tracks. We could make it really interesting. We're running from a train.
I'll film you.
No.
Did you know that this was about the applaud?
So lots of really great things out there, and sadly, you don't know they're there if nobody told you. So hopefully you saw something that triggered, wow, that looked really great, and that could make my life easier, because that was the goal.
Reminded you already bought it.
Or maybe, hey, I have one of those somewhere. I should go look for that.
That happens to me more than often.
I mean, I have, there's a reason I have 10 pairs of tweezers.
Right, right, they're there.
They're so pretty too.
They're so pretty, yeah.
So anyway, thanks so much for joining. Next week we'll be talking about the applaud and actually having one live. So don't forget to tune in next week. Like, subscribe, all those good things. Share everything so that lots of people can see all these fun things that we talk about. So thanks again. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.